I was 3 weeks into my new job as a translator at an international law firm when I realized the man who kept showing up at my favorite coffee shop wasn't there by coincidence. He was always at the corner table, always watching, always leaving exactly 2 minutes after I did. At first, I thought maybe he liked me. Maybe he was working up the courage to say hello. Then I noticed the other man. Different face, same routine, different coffee shop, same 2-minute delay when I left. And that's when I understood. I was being followed. My name is Elena Rossi, and I'm 26 years old. I grew up in a quiet suburb of Boston. My parents are both professors. My life has been safe and predictable and completely ordinary, which is exactly why I moved to New York 6 months ago. I wanted adventure. I wanted excitement. I wanted to feel like I was actually living instead of just existing. I got more than I bargained for. It started 3 months ago at a gallery opening in Chelsea. My friend Sophia had dragged me there because she knew the artist and promised there would be free wine and interesting people. I wasn't really into the art scene, but free wine sounded good, and I had nothing better to do on a Friday night. The gallery was packed. People in expensive clothes drinking expensive wine and pretending to understand abstract paintings that looked like someone had thrown paint at a canvas while blindfolded. I was standing in front of a particularly confusing piece, trying to figure out if it was upside down, when I heard a voice behind me. It's meant to represent the chaos of human emotion. I turned around, and my brain just stopped working for a second. The man standing behind me was probably the most attractive person I'd ever seen in real life. Tall, dark hair, dark eyes, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my rent. The kind of face that belonged in movies or on billboards. Is it? I managed to say. No idea, he smiled. I think it's terrible, but the artist is the gallery owner's nephew, so everyone's pretending it's genius. I laughed. That's reassuring. I thought maybe I just didn't understand art. Most people don't. They just pretend to. He extended his hand. Dante. Alina. I shook his hand. His grip was firm and warm, and he held on just a second longer than necessary. Elena. Italian? Half. My father's side. Beautiful name. The way he said it made something flutter in my chest. We talked for the next hour about art and wine and New York and everything and nothing. He was charming and funny and easy to talk to. When he asked for my number, I gave it to him without hesitation. We went out 3 days later. Dinner at an Italian restaurant in Little Italy that he said had the best pasta in the city. He was right. We talked for hours about our families, our jobs, our dreams. He told me he worked in import and export. International business, lots of travel. It sounded impressive and vague enough that I didn't ask too many questions. When he took me home, he kissed me goodnight at my door. Just once, soft and perfect. Then he said, "I'd like to see you again." I'd like that too. We went out 4 more times over the next 2 weeks. Every date was perfect. Fancy restaurants, the theater, a jazz club in the village. He was a perfect gentleman. Attentive, interested, never pushing for more than I was ready to give. I thought maybe I'd finally met someone special, someone worth taking a risk on. Then everything changed. I was walking home from work on a Tuesday evening. It was getting dark. The streets were crowded with people heading home or out to dinner. I was 3 blocks from my apartment when I noticed them. 2 men, both large, both wearing dark suits, both walking about 10 feet behind me. I sped up. They sped up. I slowed down. They slowed down. My heart started pounding. I pulled out my phone and called Sophia. "Hey, are you home? Can I come over?" "Sure. What's wrong? You sound weird." "I think someone's following me." "What? Are you serious?" "Yeah, 2 guys. They've been behind me for 3 blocks. "Okay, don't go home. Come to my place. I'm calling the police." "No, don't. I'm probably just being paranoid." "Elena, if you think someone's following you, that's not paranoia. That's instinct. Come here now." I changed direction. headed toward Sophia's apartment in the East Village. The two men kept following. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. Then one of them called out, "Miss Rossi, please stop. We're not going to hurt you." I stopped, turned around. They were both holding up their hands like they were trying to calm a spooked horse. "Who are you? Why are you following me?" "We work for Mr. Valentini. He asked you to make sure you got home safely." Valentini. I didn't know anyone named Valentini. "Perhaps you know him as Dante?" My stomach dropped. Dante had sent men to follow me? Why would he do that? "He's concerned about your safety. This city can be dangerous." "So you have your men follow me without telling me? That's not concern, that's stalking." "We understand your frustration. Mr. Valentini would like to speak with you about this. He's waiting at your apartment." He was at my apartment. He had men following me, and somehow he knew where I lived, even though I'd never given him my address. I wanted to run, but I also wanted answers. So I walked to my apartment with two strangers following me like bodyguards I'd never asked for. Dante was standing outside my building, leaning against a black car that probably cost more than most people's houses. When he saw me, he straightened up, smiled, like this was completely normal. "Elena, I'm glad you're here." "Why are there men following me? How do you know where I live? What's going on?" "Can we talk inside? This isn't a conversation for the street." "No, we can talk right here. Explain. Now." He looked at the two men, nodded. They walked away, got into a second black car parked down the street. But they didn't leave, just watched. "I should have told you sooner. I was trying to find the right time." "Told me what?" "My full name is Dante Valentini. My family runs a number of businesses in New York. Some of them are complicated. Some of them make enemies. And when I started seeing you, I realized those enemies might try to use you to get to me." "Use me how?" "To hurt me, to send messages, to gain leverage. So I assigned security to watch over you, to make sure nothing happened." My brain was trying to process this. Enemies? Security? What kind of businesses are you talking about? "The kind we shouldn't discuss on the street." He stepped closer. "I know this is a lot. I know I should have been honest from the beginning, but I need you to understand that everything I've done has been to protect you." "Protect me from what?" "From the reality of who I am and what my family does." And then it clicked. The expensive suits, the vague job description, the way people had looked at him at restaurants like they recognized him, like they were afraid of him. "You're involved in organized crime." He didn't deny it, just looked at me with those dark eyes. "It's more complicated than that, but yes." I took a step back. "I need you to leave." "Elena." "No, you lied to me. You've been having me followed. You're a criminal. I want you to leave me alone." "I can't do that." "Yes, you can. It's very simple. You stop calling, you stop showing up, you stop having men follow me, and we both pretend this never happened." "You don't understand. It's not that simple." "Why not?" "Because my enemies already know about you. They've seen us together. They've been watching. And if I just walk away, they'll think you mean nothing to me, which makes you an easy target, someone they can hurt without consequences." "So what are you saying?" "I'm saying the only way to keep you safe is to make it clear that you're under my protection, that touching you means going to war with me." "I don't want your protection. I don't want any part of this. I just want my normal life back." "That's not possible anymore. I'm sorry, but the moment I took you to dinner, the moment people saw us together, your normal life ended." I felt like I couldn't breathe. "You're saying I'm stuck with bodyguards following me around because you decided to date me?" "I'm saying I made a mistake getting involved with you without thinking about the consequences, and now I'm trying to fix it, the only way I know how. By stalking me? By protecting you." I turned and walked into my building. He didn't follow, but when I looked out my window 10 minutes later, both black cars were still there. I called Sophia and told her everything. She was silent for a long time after I finished. "Sophia, say something." You're dating a mobster? I was dating a mobster. Past tense. It's over. Does he know that? I told him to leave me alone. And he's still outside your building? With his men? Yes. Elena, this is serious. Like, really serious. You need to call the police. And tell them what? That my ex-boyfriend is worried about my safety? That he has men watching my building? It's weird, but I don't think it's illegal. It's definitely illegal. Stalking, harassment, something. Maybe, but I have a feeling getting the police involved would only make things worse. I was right. The next day, the men were still there. Different ones. Same routine. Following me to work, following me home. Always at a distance, never approaching, just watching. I tried to ignore them, tried to pretend everything was normal. It didn't work. After a week, I confronted one of them. Tell Dante I want to talk to him. He's been waiting for you to say that. I'll let him know. 2 hours later, there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. Dante. I almost didn't open it, but I needed this to stop. I needed to make him understand that whatever he thought was happening between us wasn't real, that I wasn't his responsibility, that I didn't want any part of his world. I opened the door. I want you to call off your men. Can I come in? No, I want you to call them off. I want you to leave me alone. I want my life back. I can't do that. Yes, you can. You just choose not to. And Lena, listen to me. 3 days ago, someone tried to break into your apartment building. My men stopped them. 2 days ago, someone followed you from work until my men intervened. Yesterday, someone approached your friend Sophia asking questions about you. This isn't paranoia. This is real. You are in danger. My stomach twisted. Why? Why would anyone care about me? Because you were seen with me. Because people think you matter to me. Because in my world, that makes you a target. Then tell them I don't matter. Tell them we're done. Tell them I'm nothing to you. He stepped closer. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. I can't tell them that. Why not? Because it's not true. The way he said it made my heart skip. Dante, I know you're angry. I know you hate me right now, but I'm not going to apologize for keeping you safe. And I'm not going to stop. Whether you want my protection or not, you have it, because the alternative is unacceptable. I'm not yours to protect. He smiled small and sad. Then why are my men still guarding your door? I didn't have an answer for that. He reached out like he was going to touch my face, but stopped himself. I'll try to be less obvious about the security, but it stays. Non-negotiable. And Elena, be careful. These people don't play games. They don't make threats they won't follow through on. So please, just let me keep you safe. Then he left, and I stood in my doorway trying to figure out how my life had turned into something out of a movie. The next 2 weeks were the strangest of my life. I went to work, I went home, I saw my friends. I did everything normal, except nothing was normal, because everywhere I went, there were men watching. Different faces, same purpose. I started to recognize them. The one who always wore a gray suit and stood by the coffee shop entrance. The one who sat 3 tables away at the deli where I ate lunch. The one who pretended to read the newspaper while sitting on the bench across from my office building. They were always there, always watching, always keeping distance. It should have felt invasive, threatening, wrong, but instead I started to feel something else. Safe, protected, like nothing bad could happen as long as they were around. And I hated that I felt that way. I hated that part of me was grateful for the protection, even though I'd never asked for it. Even though accepting it meant accepting that Dante Valentini had somehow inserted himself into my life in a way I couldn't undo. Then one night, everything got worse. I was working late at the office. Most people had already left. I was finishing up a translation that was due the next morning. The building was quiet, empty. I saved my work and packed up my things, took the elevator down to the lobby. The security guard at the front desk nodded as I walked by. I pushed through the revolving door and stepped out onto the street. It was raining. Cold November rain that soaked through my coat in seconds. I put my bag over my head and started walking toward the subway. I'd made it half a block when I felt a hand grab my arm. I spun around. A man I didn't recognize. Tall, broad, wearing a dark jacket with the hood up. His grip was tight, painful. Elena Rossi? My voice wouldn't work. I just nodded. Come with me, now. Don't make a scene. He started pulling me toward a van parked at the curb. I tried to pull away, started to scream. He put his hand over my mouth. I said, don't make a scene. Then suddenly, he wasn't holding me anymore. He was on the ground, and two men in suits were standing over him. One of them turned to me. Miss Rossi? Are you hurt? I'm fine. What happened? This man tried to take you. We stopped him. The other man was on his phone. Sir, yes, she's safe. We have the subject. Understood. He hung up and looked at me. Mr. Valentini is on his way. He wants us to take you somewhere secure. I just want to go home. That's not safe right now. Please, come with us.
The man on the ground was groaning, bleeding from his nose. The one in the gray suit pulled him up and pushed him toward a car that had appeared out of nowhere. I let them lead me to a different car, got in the back seat. One of them got in next to me, the other drove. We drove for 20 minutes. Ended up at a building in Tribeca. Expensive, the kind of place with doormen and marble lobbies and security cameras everywhere. They took me up to the penthouse, opened the door. Dante was waiting inside. He crossed the room in 3 strides and pulled me into his arms. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? I'm fine. Your men stopped him. They should have stopped him sooner, before he touched you. He pulled back and looked at me. Really looked at me. His hands on my face. I'm so sorry. This is my fault. Who was he? Someone working for a rival family. They wanted to grab you, use you as leverage against me. For what? For business they think I'm interfering with. Details you don't need to know. He led me to the couch, sat down next to me. Elena, this isn't going to stop. As long as they think you're important to me, they'll keep trying, and I can't. He stopped, ran his hands through his hair. I can't let anything happen to you. So what are you saying? I'm saying you need to move in here, with me, where I can protect you properly. That's insane. It's necessary. I'm not moving in with you. We're not even together. No, but you're still the woman I care about, and that's enough to make you a target. Care about? Dante, we went on 5 dates. You barely know me. I know enough. I know you're smart and funny and stubborn. I know you take your coffee with too much sugar and read murder mysteries on the subway. I know you call your mom every Sunday and you're scared of thunderstorms. I know that when you're nervous, you twist your ring around your finger. And I know that the thought of something happening to you makes me feel things I haven't felt in years. I didn't know what to say to that. You can't just decide I matter to you and then upend my entire life. I didn't decide. It just happened. And believe me, I wish it hadn't. My life was simpler when I didn't care about anyone. But here we are. He stood up. You don't have to stay here permanently. Just until we handle the current situation. A few weeks. Maybe a month. Then you can go back to your apartment with increased security. And if I refuse, then I'll have men stationed outside your apartment 24 hours a day. Inside your building, outside your office, everywhere you go. Visible. Obvious. Making it clear you're under my protection even if you don't want to be. That's not fair. No, but it's reality. I looked around the penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows, expensive furniture, the kind of place I'd only seen in magazines. I need to think about it. Take all the time you need, but you're staying here tonight. It's not safe to move you until we know what we're dealing with. You can't just keep me here. I'm not keeping you. I'm protecting you. There's a difference. You're free to leave any time, but my men will follow you. And we both know that ends with you right back here or in danger. So save us both the trouble and just stay. He walked toward the door. Guest room is down the hall, second door on the right. Bathroom's attached. There's clothes in the closet that should fit you. My assistant bought them earlier. Help yourself to anything in the kitchen. I'll be in my office if you need me. Then he left, and I sat on his couch trying to figure out how I'd ended up here. How a few dates with a handsome stranger had turned into being kidnapped by a rival crime family, and now living in a penthouse with a man who claimed to care about me, even though we barely knew each other. I called Sophia, told her what happened. "Oh my God, are you okay?" "Physically, yes. Mentally, I have no idea." "Where are you now?" "Dante's penthouse. He says I need to stay here where he can protect me." "And you're just going along with this?" "What choice do I have? Someone literally tried to kidnap me tonight. Maybe he's right. Maybe I am safer here." "Or maybe you're falling for him and using the danger as an excuse to give in." "I'm not falling for him." "Elena, come on. I've known you since college. I know when you're lying." I was quiet for a moment. "Okay, fine. Maybe I'm a little bit falling for him, but that doesn't change the fact that he lied to me, that he's a criminal, that being with him puts me in danger. So what are you going to do?" "I don't know. Stay here for a few days, figure out what's real and what's just fear and adrenaline. Try to get my life back." "Good luck with that. Something tells me your life is never going to be normal again." She was right. I stayed in Dante's penthouse that night. The guest room was bigger than my entire apartment. The bed was so comfortable, I almost forgot I was basically a prisoner. Almost. The next morning, I found Dante in the kitchen making coffee. He was wearing jeans and a black t-shirt. His hair was messy, like he'd just woken up. He looked different, more human, less like a dangerous crime boss. "Morning. Did you sleep okay?" Considering the circumstances, as well as could be expected. He poured me a cup of coffee, added 2 sugars without asking. Exactly how I liked it. "We need to talk about what happens next." "I'm listening." "The man who tried to take you is talking. He's given us information about who sent him and what they wanted. It's worse than I thought." "How much worse?" "They weren't just trying to use you as leverage. They were going to kill you, send me your body as a message." I felt like I'd been punched. "What?" "I'm sorry. I know that's hard to hear, but you need to understand how serious this is. These people don't make idle threats, and they've decided that the best way to hurt me is through you." "Why? What did you do to them?" "Business disagreements that escalated, territory disputes, the usual things that start wars in my world." He set down his coffee cup, "But none of that matters right now. What matters is keeping you safe." "For how long? A week? A month? Forever?" "As long as it takes." I laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. "You realize how insane this is, right? We barely know each other, we went on a few dates, and now I'm supposed to what? Live here under your protection indefinitely because your business rivals want to murder me?" "Yes." "That's not an answer." "It's the only answer I have. I'm sorry I pulled you into this. I'm sorry my world touched yours, but I can't undo it. All I can do is make sure you survive it." I wanted to be angry. I wanted to scream at him, blame him, hate him. But when I looked at his face, all I saw was guilt and fear, and something that looked like genuine care. "What if I just leave the city, move back to Boston, start over somewhere you're not?" "They'll follow you, and I won't be there to protect you." "So I'm stuck?" "You're protected. There's a difference." "Is there?" He crossed the room and stood in front of me, close enough to touch, but not touching.
I know you don't want this. I know you're scared and angry and probably wish you'd never met me, but I need you to understand something. Since the moment I met you, you've been the only thing in my life that's felt real, the only thing that's made me want to be something other than what I am, and I will burn down this entire city before I let anyone hurt you. So yes, you're stuck with me, and my protection, and my feelings, whether you want them or not. That's not fair. No, but it's true. He reached up and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. I'm not asking you to love me. I'm not even asking you to like me. I'm just asking you to let me keep you safe. Can you do that? I should have said no. I should have found a way out. I should have done anything except what I actually did. But when I looked into his eyes, when I felt his hand still resting against my cheek, when I thought about how scared I'd been last night and how safe I'd felt the moment his men stopped that man from taking me, I heard myself say, "Okay, I'll stay. For now." Something in his expression softened. "Thank you." That was 3 months ago. I'm still here, in Dante's penthouse, in his world, in his life. It's not what I planned, not what I wanted, but somehow it's become something that feels right. We have dinner together every night. We talk for hours about everything and nothing. About his childhood growing up in a family where violence was normal. About my dreams of traveling the world. About the person he wishes he could be. The person I'm helping him become. The security is still there. The men still follow me everywhere. But now they feel less like guards and more like protection. Like a safety net I didn't know I needed. Dante still hasn't asked me to be his girlfriend, hasn't pushed for anything physical beyond occasional touches, holding my hand, brushing my hair back, small intimacies that somehow feel more significant than anything else. But last night, something changed. We were sitting on the couch, watching a movie. His arm was around my shoulders, my head was resting against his chest. It felt comfortable, natural, right. The movie ended. Neither of us moved. Then Dante said, "I need to tell you something." Okay? The threat is gone. We handled the situation. The family that wanted to hurt you has backed off. There's been an agreement. A truce. You're safe now. My heart started pounding. So, I can leave? Technically, yes. You can go back to your apartment, back to your normal life. The security would still be there, but it would be minimal. Subtle. You'd barely notice. But I don't want you to go. He shifted so he was looking at me. I know this started as protection. I know you didn't choose any of this. But somewhere along the way, it became real for me. You became real. And the thought of you leaving, of going back to a life where I don't see you every day, where you're not here when I wake up and when I go to sleep, it's unacceptable. Dante, I'm not trying to trap you. If you want to leave, I'll help you leave. I'll make sure you're set up with everything you need. I'll stay away if that's what you want. But before you decide, I need you to know how I feel. I need you to know that somewhere between protecting you and getting to know you, I fell completely in love with you. I couldn't breathe. You love me? Desperately. Completely, in a way that terrifies me because I've never felt anything like this before. He took my hand. I know I'm not what you wanted. I know my world is dark and dangerous and complicated, but I would spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of you if you'd give me the chance. So I'm asking, not as the man who's been protecting you, not as someone you're obligated to, but as someone who loves you and wants to build a life with you. Will you stay? I thought about the last 3 months, about how Dante had never once made me feel trapped or controlled, about how he'd respected my space and my choices, about how he'd shown me every day in small ways that I mattered to him, about how somewhere along the way I'd started looking forward to our dinners together, started feeling safe in his presence, started falling for him even though I'd sworn I wouldn't. I'm not saying I'm yours. He smiled. No, I'm saying I'm choosing to stay. There's a difference. What kind of difference? One means I belong to you. The other means I want to be with you, that I'm making a choice to build something with you, on my terms, as your equal, not as someone you're protecting, as your partner. He pulled me closer. I can live with that. Can you? Because if we're doing this, you need to understand that I'm not going to just accept everything about your world. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to push you to be better. Good. I need that. I need you to push me, to remind me there's more to life than business and violence and revenge. And you need to be patient with me, because this is all new and scary, and I'm probably going to have moments where I panic and want to run. Then I'll talk you through them. I'll remind you why you're here, why we're worth fighting for. He leaned in until his forehead was resting against mine. Elena Rossi, you have completely destroyed my carefully controlled life in the best possible way, and I wouldn't change a single moment of it. Then he kissed me, and it was nothing like that first kiss 3 months ago outside my apartment. This was deeper, more desperate, full of everything we'd been holding back. When we finally broke apart, We were both breathing hard. So, you're staying? I'm staying. As my girlfriend? As your partner, your equal. The woman who's going to spend the next however many years making sure you don't completely lose yourself to this world you live in. I can live with that. Actually, I think I can more than live with that. I think I need that. Good, because you're stuck with me now. All the stubbornness, all the questions, all the demands that you be better than you think you can be. Sounds terrible. He was smiling.
Sounds perfect. We sat there for a long time, just holding each other, just being together without the weight of protection or obligation or anything except the choice to be here, the choice to try. Eventually I said, "Your men are still outside my old apartment, aren't they?" "Of course. Even though the threat is gone, some habits are hard to break. And I sleep better knowing you have backup, even when you don't need it." "That's excessive. That's love." I laughed. "You're impossible. You're stuck with me anyway." "I am." I pulled back to look at him. "But we're doing this my way, which means you need to tell me the truth about your business, about what you do, about the parts of your world that are going to affect my life. No more secrets." "That's going to be a long conversation." "Then we better get started." He took my hand, led me to his office, and for the next 3 hours, he told me everything about his family's history, about the businesses they ran, about the legal and illegal aspects of his world, about the violence and the compromises and the impossible choices. And I listened. I asked questions, I challenged him when something didn't make sense, and slowly I started to understand the complexity of the man I'd fallen for, the man who was capable of terrible things, but wanted to be better, the man who'd turned my life upside down, but had also shown me what it felt like to be truly protected, truly valued, truly loved. That was 6 months ago. I still live in the penthouse. I still have security following me everywhere. But now it feels less like protection and more like family. Those men aren't just guards. They're people I know, people who've saved my life, people who've become part of my strange new normal. Dante and I are building something. It's messy and complicated and probably not what either of us expected, but it's real. It's ours, and it's worth every difficult moment. He still runs his business. I still push him to be better, to make choices that won't come back to haunt him, to find ways to get out of the darker parts of his world. And slowly, he's changing, shifting, becoming someone who might eventually walk away from all of it. Or maybe not. Maybe this is who he'll always be. But the difference is that now I'm beside him, helping him find balance, reminding him that there's more to life than power and control. Last week, he asked me to marry him. Not with some elaborate proposal, just during dinner on a random Tuesday. "I want to marry you. Will you say yes?" I looked at him, at this man who'd somehow become my best friend, my partner, my home. "Are you asking because you love me or because you want to make sure I'm protected by law?" "Both. Is that wrong?" "No, it's honest, which is all I've ever asked for." "So, yes, I'll marry you, but we're doing it on my terms. Small wedding, just family and friends, no business associates, no using it as some kind of statement to your rivals. Deal." He pulled out a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. I've been carrying this around for 2 months waiting for the right moment. "And you decided the right moment was Tuesday dinner?" "I decided the right moment was when I couldn't wait any longer." I let him slide the ring onto my finger, let him pull me into his arms, let myself feel the weight of this decision and the rightness of it. "You know, people are going to think I'm crazy marrying a man like you." "Probably. And you're okay with that?"
As long as you're okay with it, I don't care what anyone else thinks. Good answer. We're getting married next month. Small ceremony, just like I wanted. My parents still don't really understand what Dante does. I've kept them mostly in the dark for their own safety. They think he's in international business, which is technically true. My brother knows the truth. He pulled me aside last week and asked me if I was sure. He's dangerous, Alina. You know that, right? I know. And you're still going to marry him? I am. Why? I thought about how to explain it. How to make him understand that sometimes the person you fall for isn't the person you expected. Sometimes they come wrapped in danger and complications and impossible choices. But they're still the person who makes you feel alive, who makes you want to be braver than you are, who sees all of you and loves you anyway. Because he sees me. All of me. Not just the translator or the daughter or the friend. He sees the woman who wants adventure, who's brave enough to stand up to a criminal and tell him no, who is willing to build a life in the gray spaces between right and wrong. And he loves me for it, not despite it. My brother was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Just promise me you'll be careful, that you'll protect yourself, that you won't lose who you are trying to fit into his world." I promise. But the truth is, I'm not fitting into his world. I'm changing it. One small choice at a time, making him better, making us better. Then I'm happy for you. Thank you. So here I am, about to marry a man I met at an art gallery 6 months ago, a man who sent guards to protect me, a man who turned my life upside down, a man I love more than I ever thought possible. People ask me sometimes if I regret it, if I wish I'd never met him, if I wish I'd stayed in that gallery and never talked to the handsome stranger with the charming smile. The answer is no. Because yes, my life is complicated now. Yes, there's danger and security and the constant awareness that I'm living in a world most people never see. But I'm also more alive than I've ever been. More myself. More willing to take risks and embrace the unexpected. And I have a partner who sees me, who challenges me, who makes me want to be braver than I am, stronger, and more willing to fight for what I believe in. So when people ask me why I stayed, why I said yes, why I chose this life with this man, I tell them the truth. Because when he asked why his men were still guarding my door, even after I've said I wasn't his, I realized something. I realized that sometimes protection is just another word for love. Sometimes the person who upends your life is the person who was meant to find you all along. And sometimes saying yes to danger is really saying yes to living. My name is Elena Rossi Valentini now. I'm 27 years old. I'm married to a man who runs a criminal empire. And somehow, against all odds, I'm happy. Did you like my story? What city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your support. I'm looking forward to your comments. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.